Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Mighty Nutcracker, and today here's some more news that's international. Apparently, a Dutch ISIS fighter wants to go home with his Brit jihadi bride. I made a mistake, says Dutch ISIS fighter. Dutch national turned Islamic State fighter Jago Riedic, I Riedic Riedic has said it was a huge mistake to join the terror group and that all he wants is to move to the Netherlands and raise a family with his jihadi bride Shamima Begum. You do realize that you committed treason, correct, Mr. Yago? I don't think you would be coming home and raising a family. I would think that you'd be in prison for a very, very long time. Speaking to the BBC, 27-year-old Rajic claimed that despite traveling to Kobane and Aleppo to fight with the Islamic State, he wasn't a real fighter and hardly used his weapon. Of course, he had to say that for people to even want to let him in. The Islamic extremist is being held in a Kurdish-controlled detention center in northeastern Syria, and told BBC Middle East correspondent Quentin Somerville, I made a huge mistake. I've thrown away years of my life. It was not my life. Luckily, I didn't directly hurt other people, keyword directly, he claimed, but me joining and supporting a group like that, it's something that's not acceptable. Well, it's interesting that you say that now after ISIS is almost completely and utterly destroyed. Clearly, some of them want to leave ISIS because they lost, seeming to be better schooled and appearing contrite than his UK-born wife, who was criticized for lack of remorse while demanding to be allowed to return to Britain. I'm pretty certain that if they let her back in, she will also be tried for treason. Mr. Rajic said, I would love to go back to my own country, which I now understand the privileges that I live with, the privileges of living there as a citizen. Well, I would say that for doing something as heinous as joining a terrorist group that has been known to cough the heads of innocent people, gun down children for whatever reason, I would think that you're a little bit insane to think that people would want to accept you back. Obviously, certain people would be willing to let you in because they don't understand the fact how brutal ISIS had been, and the fact that letting certain people who want back could endanger the lives of many more. I don't think he understands the problem that he is in. And of course, I understand that many people have a problem with what I did, and I totally understand that. And I have to take responsibility for what I did, serve my sentence, which could be a lifetime, but I hope to be able to return to a normal life and raise a family. How do you raise a family when you're in prison for what could be... I don't know what the laws are for treason here over in the Netherlands. I don't even know how long you would get for treason in America. It depends for certain things, but honestly, he thinks that he would get a normal life, and that surprises me. After she claimed to have been unfazed, and they're talking about his wife, after she claimed to have been unfazed by seeing his severed head in a bin in Syria and appearing to regret that the caliphate was collapsing, her husband claimed that he had kept her in a protected shell. Wow! That is quite surprising that if she was actually kept in protected shell, I very much... I'm afraid to think of what he was protecting her from. What could have been far worse than that? He must have seen a lot worse things. and that she was unaware of the beheadings, stonings, and slavery going on around her. Oh, unaware of the beheadings, stoning, and slavery going on around her. That's a little surprising considering she's claimed that she had seen some beheadings and even encouraged it. She was just sitting inside taking care of the household while I was trying to get by, the Islamic State fighter suggested. Feed her, feed myself, try to keep out of trouble, try not getting killed by secret services, making decisions that changed our lives, trying to keep us in safety. Asked whether he knew of any fighters who had kept slaves from the minority Yazidi sect, members of which had been persecuted, murdered, and sold into sexual slavery by the Islamic terror group fighters, he said that he knew of a fellow Dutch national who had one. So now he is pretty much snitching on some ISIS fighters who joined with him. That is, well, I'm glad he pointed those out, but that's a little bit much, don't you think? Snitching on people? That's about as close as I ever got to a slave. I heard she was about 40 years old, he claimed to the BBC. And remember, the keyword's claimed here. He claims that he didn't do any of these things. The problem is most people who want to get out of prison and or anything else that has been done by extremely heinously by ISIS fighters, people are going to try to downplay what they did. Kind of like what happened with Nazi Germany, with many of the Nazi regime downplaying what they did, some claiming that they were defending Europe, despite the fact that they had witnesses who could prove their heinous claims. It's really hard to get witnesses at this point. Well, they might find witnesses, who knows. In February, Home Secretary Sajid Javid revoked Miss Begin's British citizenship, a move backed by a Kurdish Yazidi refugee living in Coventry. Rosen Khalil, 21, told Birmingham Live that many of thousands of Yazidi women and children slaves will never be able to return home or have any hope of escape because of the Islamic State, and said she was shocked by Begin's behavior after being found in the Syrian refugee camp. She showed no remorse whatsoever. She left at the age of 15 when she knew the rights and wrongs, and it was entirely her choice, the Yazidi rights campaigner said. Even considering allowing her back to the UK is setting a bad example. It shows other terror groups that in the future that we are soft touch because we will allow their wives, children, and supporters back into the country. Sky News admitted on Saturday that most of the people at Al-Hol refugee camp who left the last Islamic State stronghold in Syria are still fanatical supporters of the terror group, knowing that one woman told the broadcaster that the caliphate would one day rise from the ashes. I didn't want to be an IS boast girl, London teenager Shamima Begum, who fled to join Islamic State group, says she now wants UK's forgiveness. This is, here's the comments. Committing genocide against Christians and Yazidis isn't a crime he feels like he should be made to pay for. They were only infidels. Yeah, that's funny. Now, this is pretty surprising that a growing amount of people who committed treason against their country think that they should be forgiven for joining someone as heinous as ISIS. It's disturbing to me that people are supporting forgiveness for something like this. Now, this is very serious because there's still quite a few people. One of the reasons why I don't think we should forgive these type of people is because it will send a very bad message, like it said to on the bomb. A very bad message to many Islamic terrorists that, well, you may have committed crimes against humanity, but hey, you said you didn't do it, so we'll just let you back in. That is sends a very bad precedent to our enemies, and also the fact that if we are so soft and negligent in allowing these things, a lot of lives could be lost if we choose to forgive them. Now, of course, this person is not American. Luckily, America was smart enough to capture people who tried to join ISIS. Of course, some, however, did succeed to make it over there and died. But we have caught people who tried to join ISIS because they were stupid enough and to fly directly to Iraq and or claim that they wanted to join ISIS and they were flying over there. Some were a little bit smarter. Some would go to Egypt or, let's say, Turkey or even Iran just so they could join ISIS fighters. But this seems to be a growing trend now. Hopefully, people will do the right thing and, I don't know, either charge this person for treason or not let him back in at all. Because either way is fine. Either way is fine by me. Anyway, this was the Mighty Nutcracker. This was my opinion on this. And also, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe for more if you liked it, and not just subscribe for more. I would very much like more subscribers. Anyway, that's it. Thank you all for watching. Thank you and good day.